So beginner's mind is much more than having an open mind. It's deeper and has more profound implications. So today I want to do a deeper and more direct look at the notion of beginner's mind. So Soshin in Japanese translates as beginner's mind. It's really an attitude or a stance for directly and experientially seeing our true nature. So it's releasing a sense of what we know to be true and opening to a different way of knowing. It comes from Zen. It was, I guess, first used, from what I saw in the literature, by the 13th century Soto Zen master Dōgen, who was the founder of Soto Zen. And it was popularized probably outside Japan by Suzuki Roshi. In 1970, he published a book, Zen Mind, Beginner's Mind. And then in the Theravada Buddhist tradition, it's most commonly referred to as don't know mind. But it's essentially the same thing. Zen teacher Judy Roteman put it this way: whatever answers you think you have, you don't. And in that not knowing, we find the heart of the practice. And in the book, The Compass of Zen, Zen Master Sing Shan states, "I do not teach Buddhism, I only teach don't know." So that kind of sums up the importance of this don't know mind or beginner's mind. I really see it as a foundational aspect of the practice. So this is foundational for people just starting to meditate, but immensely foundational for somebody that's been doing this for some time. And I'll get into that a bit. So what is beginner's mind? It's a mind that's empty of preconceived notions of what's supposed to be happening, right? What we're supposed to achieve. So it's really cleared of all those preconceptions, of all conceptions, expectations, judgments, and so on. It's in the beginner's mind, there's a presence to explore and see things just as they are. Right? And we can do this throughout the day. It's not something we just do in meditation. There's a story about Suzuki Roshi answering the phone in the office, and somebody said, "What time does meditation begin?" And Roshi replied, "It never stops," and he just hung up the phone. Just pointing to that notion that it's something that we do all through the day. So we bring this beginner's mind into our meditation, of course, and into our, whatever practices we might be doing, whether it be yoga or Tai Chi or walking meditation. Well, we also bring it into our practice throughout the day. So as he says, it never stops. It never stops. So the person with beginner's mind doesn't view things with a prior kind of knowing. They're constantly asking, what is this? What is this? A curiosity. It's not a mind that's already made up, that's already conceived it. It's a mind that's curious and investigating, open. And that way we're ready for whatever experience might arise in the moment. There's the famous quote by Suzuki Roshi in the prologue to Zen Mind, Beginner's Mind. You've perhaps heard this, but I'm going to read the beginning of the quote as well. If your mind is empty, it is open to everything. In the beginner's mind, there are many possibilities. In the expert's mind, there are few. If your mind is empty, it's open to everything. In the beginner's mind, there are many possibilities. In the experts, there are few. So that's a famous quote, but often the first sentence is left out, the mind being empty. But that sentence provides additional definition to what he's intending to say here. The beginner's mind is empty. I don't know if you can read that little card that's on the Buddha and over my shoulder there. It might be blurry because the camera's blurring it out, but it says empty mind. Maybe I shared with you in the past that, as some of you know, I was a social work professor at Carleton, and I had that hanging on my door as an invitation to empty the students, to empty their minds before they come in and have a dialogue with me, to be open. So the beginner's mind is empty. So in the empty mind, there's no conceiving, conceptualizing, grasping. There's no grasping at understanding. So it's a mind that's in that way receptive to awakening, to a deeper knowing, a deeper dimension of being. As I said at the beginning of the talk, beginner's mind is much more than having a mind that's open to new ideas and viewpoints. It's much more profound and deeper than that. Ultimately, it's really saying ultimately we don't know anything. Right? Of course, you may know that 2 + 2 is 4, or you may know that how to play a trombone, or have all kinds of scientific and professional knowledge. But that's knowing at a real a surface of things, at the appearance of things in the conventional world. So if we look beyond the surface appearance, we realize that we don't really know anything. And it's the acceptance of that that's really the portal to reality, to opening to a deeper knowing, a knowing that it arises in a different way. Take a wave on the ocean, for example. Perhaps you're swimming and you see a wave on the ocean. A fish doesn't see a wave. Actually, I have no idea what a fish sees, but it wouldn't have the category wave. It wouldn't know ocean either, even though it lives in the ocean. We think that we're knowledgeable because we can categorize it and put a label on it. This is wave, this is ocean. But do we really know the wave or ocean? What we know of the wave or ocean is only that which we can perceive through our sense organs, right? Through our sight, ears, through the sense organs. But does that give us a complete picture? What's the depth of that knowing? And don't get me wrong here, I'm not saying that we don't need conventional knowledge to function. We need conventional knowledge to build spaceships, to cook dinner, to stop putting CO2 into the atmosphere. But we can get trapped in this knowing, thinking that this is it. By believing that we know, we close ourselves off to something that's more fundamental, that's deeper. We close ourselves off to the deeper truth. And as we deepen in our practice, we begin to realize that human understanding is really limited. It's inherently limited. There's the Abhidhamma, the Theravada text, really the psychology of Buddhism, It's really an intricate exploration into the processes by which we construct our awareness of the world. And it describes where there isn't a simple correspondence between how we think things are and how they actually are. Right? The Abhidhamma really recognizes that our understanding of the world is closely tied to these processes of awareness and the limitations of our sense organs and the subjective nature of our perception that all go in to construct what we think is reality. So the text really explores how that what appears to be a simple recognition of reality is actually an illusion. There's really no correspondence between our conception of reality and what is actually happening. So that really invites us to question the reliability of our mental constructs and highlights the inherent subjectivity in our interpretation of the world. So it invites us to, encourages a real humble acknowledgement of the limitations of our knowledge. I always in these talks talk about how we cultivate what I talk about to make it experiential. I guess all I could say is that we foster or evoke beginner's mind through, I think, humility, that recognition that our subjective perception of reality is very limited, and through dedicated practice. And this is whether you're newcomers to the practice or seasoned veterans, practitioners. It rings true for all. The essence of our practice hinges on maintaining a beginner's mind. Without it, there is no practice. And it goes beyond being present in each moment. It goes beyond cultivating an open mind. So we train the mind to release its grip, allowing ourselves to be open to ultimate freedom. When we relinquish the conceptual mind, we can fall into a intuitive experiential knowing. Right? We release this conceptual knowing, and we can be open then to and fall into a direct experiential knowing. This is really the fruit of not knowing. It's the purpose of not knowing. Back to Suzuki Roshi, he once said, the essence of Zen is not always so, not always so. Well, what does that mean? It's helpful to bring to mind when you're sure of something. Gives the mind an opportunity to look again and be open to other possibilities. So I don't have any meditation practices for this insight, for cultivating beginner's mind. If it's really a thing we can cultivate, we can be aware of it. It's more of an attitude or a stance that we bring to practice, right? So if we're we're operating from the stance of beginner's mind in our spiritual practice. This allows us to transcend the limitations of the conceptual mind. Right? By approaching our spiritual journey with beginner's mind, we create the space for a profound and direct connection with something that goes beyond the tangible and conceptual. Right, our true natures, we often describe it as empty. You've heard me use that word, or intangible, incomprehensible. So what do those words point to? Empty, intangible, incomprehensible. It's implying a dimension, I guess, of existence that transcends our ordinary, conventional understanding. And to access this, we must adopt an unconventional approach, an approach that's different than what we need to navigate the everyday world, right? As I say, we need our concepts, language, labels to navigate the other world, the everyday world. But for what we're doing here, we need an unconventional approach. We need to let go of that which, does us well in functioning. But we let go of that and sense into a deeper reality. And to do that, we need something else. We need something else, not concepts, not language. So the process involves intuitively sensing into our true nature, rather than trying to intellectually grasp it. Yeah, I hope I'm getting that. It's coming through the depth of the importance of beginner's mind to this whole endeavor that we're involved in together. We see the limitations of language and concepts. It really becomes evident in the face of this indescribable truth. And it's pushing us to abandon the concepts and embrace a more intuitive and experiential mode of knowing. Right, we're grasping is not the right word. We're sensing into something that's intangible. So don't use beginner's mind to navigate the conventional world. You might get fired or get lost or burn your house down. It's a beginner's mind is not a tool for navigating or functioning in the world. It serves as a gateway to connecting with the essence that underlies all those things we're doing in the conventional world, that underlies our everyday experiences. So it's a real shift in perspective, right? A shift in way of looking. A shift away from conventional modes of thinking, bound by language and concepts, which are inadequate for sensing and knowing our true nature, for knowing our the reality. So it's in the sensing into the still space, the presence, the calm, abiding, where we let go of the egoic's incessant need to understand, to seek, to improve. And we're allowing a more profound and deeper awareness to be seen. It's always there, we just overlook it. As I've said before, experiences of awe can elicit this deep seeing as well. When we have experiences of awe, such as witnessing a beautiful sunset or the birth of a new being, it often offers glimpses into this way of seeing. In these moments, the mind's habitual tendencies to conceptualize are momentarily suspended. Right? You're in awe. There's this stillness, and the conceptual mind really relinquishes. And what's there is that is beginner's mind. Out of conceptual mind. So by recognizing the state when it naturally arises, we can also cultivate this state. And by doing this, we open ourselves to an authentic and direct connection to the mysteries of our existence. It's beyond the limitations of language and concepts. So embracing this beginner's mind is really foundational to our spiritual practice, our meditation practice, and our practice throughout the day.